podcast.
Digitized live from
Your company name here.
the studios in Cape Coral, Florida. It's the What's in Your Head podcast with your hosts Gordon and Don Abernathy.
What's up, OG5? How are y'all doing tonight? We're going to come at you with a word of advice. Adopt, don't shop. Joining us as always from Las Vegas, Nevada, Gordon Abernathy. Gordon, how are you doing tonight, sir?
What's up, you spicy gringo?
Yeah, the spicy gringo. Yeah, adopt, don't shop, because, you know, when you adopt, you get to get dogs that have poor house manners because they were raised by lazy-ass owners.
Who probably bought them at a... Yeah, so big news in the Abernathy household or Digital 410 Studios, however you want to look at it.
Little bebop, blue bop, Bailey Boo, honey bear, honey boo boo bear, honey child,
Uh-huh.
Bailey Boo, has been looking, wanting, pretending, desiring a playmate. She has a
Now
pit
she's
bull for a
was
cousin.
telling you this out loud?
Well, I can tell this by the way she goes up to one of the two cats, the one she likes, and does that doggy prance. Play with me. Chase with me. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
And the cat says, I'm a cat. Fuck off. Play with me. Play with me. And that's how she's got a couple of toenails stuck to her head, because sometimes cats' claws delaminate depending on how far along they are. And so we take her to Carrie's mom's house, and she'll play with her cousin, the pit bull, and this other little doggy. And then when our neighbors across the street during a hurricane, his corgi would come hang out, stay the day, and they would run and play and run. But one of the things we noticed with Bailey Bebop, Blue Bop, the Wat Bamboo, is that she likes to play and interact with people not on her own property, around her own things. And so, much like when you have a single child
I mean,
who's
it's sort of like, you know, when we were children and or even teenagers and we played, it was really rarely at home. We'd go out to somewhere else to go skateboarding, to go whatever.
or more importantly, more really, like when you go to a friend's house who has a kid, a toddler, the only child, and then their cousin comes over, you bring your kid, and then the cousin or your kid starts playing with their things, they get pissed off, and they'll be playing with something that the other kid doesn't even want, but he doesn't want them to play with it, so he'll go steal it from them and then put it away and then get something else.
Oh, yeah, I got that going on between two dogs right now.
Or gets jealous of all the attention. Well, as you all know, Bailey, Bebop, Blue Bop, Bailey Boo, Honey Bear, the bear.
Stinky britches?
No, she enjoys oversized rubber balls. Don't we all? And what happens with oversized rubber balls when you leave them out in the hot Florida sun is they constrict and expand and constrict and expand. And much like your cars do when it gets fucking cold out, your tire pressure drops and they kind of bulbous. Well, the problem with the bulbous ball...
And kill your gas mileage, but yes.
The problem with the bulbous ball is that a very small puppy can fit more material in said mouth. See, the key to an oversized ball for a small Boston Terrier is they can't fit it in their mouth. And so what looks like them bumping it and pushing it along and having fun is truly them trying to fit it in the mouth. But it's all an optical illusion. So what happens is once that ball expands and contracts enough, much
So
like
they
your
go
bike
Homer
tire,
Simpson, just don't the whole time?
much like your bike tire, your car tire, or a basketball that's left out in your yard, after a while, there's a little love handle, a little muffin top, if you will, and the dog can fit it in their mouth, and they inevitably will pop.
Spare tire.
They will inevitably pop said ball.
Mm-hmm.
But these balls cost $5 at the old Dollar General, which, by the way, these things are getting harder to find. So she popped her ball, but we had Carrie's
Plastic is hard to get.
rubber. Carrie had her yoga ball here that she was
Questionable
supposed to
about that.
use for her PT, but anytime she would use said ball, Bailey would come and steal
Oh,
it.
you
And
talking about the Swiss ball?
the big purple, the exercise
Yeah, it's
ball.
called a Swiss ball.
Bailey would come steal it from her. And so it spent most of the time in the garage. And I said, well, let's give her the big exercise ball. It's a thicker rubber. She can't pop it. No, but she can pull the little white plug out and deflate it and then lose the plug. So last Friday, I was on
You
my way
check
home.
her poo for her plugs?
No. Thursday, I went to the Dollar General by my house. No red balls. But I knew the Dollar General by my work has big balls because that's where I previously got my hands on some balls. And so I stopped there on the way home Friday.
As
And
AC/DC once sang.
I got the biggest balls of them all. So I stopped there on the way home last Friday, and for some odd reason, I purchased 2 big balls. Because one ball is never
Well, you
enough.
gotta have matching set.
No, one was red, one was green.
Okay.
And then I came home and I said,
Christmas
should I
balls.
give her both balls or should I keep one in reserve? Fuck it, let's give her both balls. Because after all, when you love something once, it's better to have 2 of them.
Did you deflate them at the same time?
So she goes out and she's playing with her balls and she's having a grand time, pushing her balls all about the yard. And about 2 hours later, we get a phone call. Ringy dingy. Hello. This is he. It's a coworker of Carrie's who also has a affinity for bebops. For those of you new to the show, bebop is my generic phrase for all Boston Terriers. And she said, hey, a friend of mine has 2 Boston Terriers. They have to move out of state. They've already given one away. Well, how old
So
are
they
these?
had 2 Boston Terriers, now have 1.
Now, how old are these Bostons? Like 4 months?
She's a
No,
teacher.
they're 2, 3 years. So you took 2 Boston Terriers that have bonded, lived under the same house, and then separated them and gave one away. That's fucking sad, but okay. Desperate times, desperate measures. Her coworker said, I already have 4 dogs. I really can't take on another one. So I know you've been in the market for a bebop, which we have been, but bebops are steep.
Anything purebred steep.
And, well, how much are they wanting for this bebop? Free, that spells free.
So it's a free bop?
Now, for any of those you who've been around this big blue globe once in a while, you know there's no such thing as a free dog.
No free bops are real.
No free bops around. But anyhow, we take a look at this free bop, and we're a little befuddled, confused, concerned, really. Majority bebops have a solid black body, little white toesies perhaps, a white neck, sometimes it goes around, and what they call the touch of God on the forehead, which is the white spot, and the white nose. This dog had the black face, the touch of God, a white and black body with a white stain in its back, and black spots that almost look like he had been bred with a fox terrier.
Now, my question is why would you be concerned if it was not a full bred dog? Because you may actually water down some of the bad genetics.
Because Bailey is now 3 years old and we haven't fixed her for a reason. We had been playing with, toying around, the idea of breeding Bailey.
Oh, you may become one of them, what's the bad word, backyard breeder?
No, we thought about maybe letting her have 1 litter before fixing her.
Okay.
But the honest in us, we knew that if we did that, we would have like 6 Boston Terriers because we wouldn't be able to get rid of any.
You have a bunch of gremlins running around?
And this young man is not fixed either. And we didn't know if we wanted his dirty mud ass tampering her pristine bloodline. But anyhow, so we get to look.
Well, you can always get a DNA test on him to find out what he really is.
We're getting to looking at him in the photos. But I said, you know what? This dog needs a home. We've been looking for bebops. They're talking about dropping this poor son of a bitch off the pound. So we said, hey, we will do it, but we need a 5-day ripcord. We need a 5-day. This shit ain't going to work. Come get this dog. Okay, whatever. So her coworker goes to this lady's house, picks up this dog, brings him to our house. Now, this dog doesn't know this lady from Adam, but because this is the woman that picked him up at his house, he will not leave her side. This poor dog looks sad, and you think, well, he just lost his brother fucking 2 weeks ago. Now his house being packed up, and all of a sudden some weird lady comes, picks him up, and brings him to our house. He looks sad for long, but he's a sweet little dog. Very small. He's 18 pounds. He should be about 23.
Now, what's his name?
His name's Jasper. And we got him out in the backyard. Bailey's running around the ball, ignoring him. Zoom. Throw a ball. He looks at it. Not the saw, just regular ball. Looks at it. Offer him treats. Doesn't want it. He will not. I pick him up. He walks back over to the woman he doesn't know. This dog has clearly got the sad look on his face. So we hang out for a little bit. She leaves, and he comes inside, lays down on her bed, just very quiet. Doesn't lick. Doesn't want to treat.
Now, did you have to pick him up to put him on the bed, or did he actually walk in and jump?
He walked in and jumped up, but you'd go to pet him, and he would cower, as though somebody's gone up his head a few times. I'm like, that's fucking sad.
That sucks.
So we thought, well, what do you do with a foster bebop and another bebop? You do what bebops like to do, and that's go to PetSmart and get some pup cups.
Get some what?
Pup cups.
Okay.
And so,
PetSmart?
yeah. Well, Starbucks, the same parking lot.
Oh. Okay.
And Jasper has a collar on. Now, being an old man, I've had many dogs with many collars, but ever since we got Bebop, we've kind of turned into a harness folk.
Yeah, collars are. I was never a fan of them because of the choking deal.
And so he had a cute little Toy Story collar, but we wanted to get him an action vest, as we so
You
affectionately
wanted
refer
to
to him
butcher him
here.
up a little bit?
We want to get him an action vest.
Okay.
So we took him down, and he tranced all through Petco, and we got him an action vest, and got in line, and got him a pup cup, and he promptly consumed it. And we got home, and he threw it up. So I think he might be lactose intolerant, so no more pup cups for him. And we hung out, and Bailey played, and he just kind of sat, timid. Go pet him, he would duck.
Checking it out. He's a new situation.
He would go snug
May
with
not have been
Carrie. He would go snug with
may not
Carrie.
have had anything weird happen, but he just a whole new situation. For
Well, he
him,
would go
so-
lay with Carrie, and then he was stuck to the hip of the lady brought him over. But to me, he was a little timid, and so Carrie texted her, "Was does the owner have a husband, a boyfriend?" No, not anybody regular. Oh, okay. She had some kids. Apparently kept the front door open. The dog can come and go as he wanted. Interesting. Okay, to each their own. So we hung out for a little bit, and I drug my daughter off the Xbox, which in and of itself was a task. But I said, hey, I need you to walk Bebop. I'm going to grab Jasper, and we're going to go for a walk around the neighborhood. So we went for like maybe a 2-mile walk and got back. And Jasper jumped up on the bed, and he's all smiling, and he just rolls on his back and kicks his stomach in the air. Like, fucking good. Done. For those who know anything about dogs, when a dog shows their belly, they're doing one of two things. To another dog, they're showing that they're the beta, not the alpha. But when they're doing it to humans, that means they no longer feel threatened, that they feel comfortable enough to expose their vulnerable undercarriage. And so he was just rolling on his back, showing his belly, letting us pet him. He does not lick at all. We think he's been yelled at for kissing. Bailey will lick your face for 20 minutes until you get pissed off. This dog will not lick you for nothing. Which some people might say is not a bad thing, but I enjoy a good lick every once in a while, don't we all? And, cool. Right on.
Now, when he sleeps now, does he currently sleep on his back at all?
Oh, he sleeps under a blanket. He sleeps under my blanket, or he'll do what we refer to as the hot pup flop. And that's when your dog's sleeping under a blanket, and in about a half hour they get hot, and they come out from the blanket, and they flop on top underneath the fan to cool down. And then they'll get up and mix it, repeat. Bailey does it too. Tucker did it. Kennison did it. They all do the hot dog flop.
Mine don't go under the blankets, really.
Well, this will be leading into something that this topic is getting to. Key to house training a puppy if you don't want to rely on kenneling.
Consistency.
Consistency is good. Consistency is fine, at least when you're awake.
It's actually consistency with the next subject you're going to talk about.
Is key, but everybody has a span of 5 to 8 hours and within a 24-hour cycle that it's hard to be consistent because while you're fucking asleep. Yes, you can set your alarm clock up to get up every hour, but if you got work the next day, it might be a little struggle. So what we have found, I did this with Kennison, we did this with Tucker, and we did this with Bailey, which is why they all slept under the covers. If you have a little tiny puppy in a tall-ass fucking bed that they are afraid to jump off of, you put them in said bed in between you, and then when they have to potty, because you've been potty training them all day, they will get at the edge of the bed and whimper, wake you up, you take them outside, and they go to the bathroom. To this day, Bailey jumps down, she'll whimper at the door. She does it every night at midnight, 4:30 and 5:30. So I get to bed at 11. As soon as I get in bed, she whimpers. I let her out. She'll wake me up around 4:30, and then when Carrie gets to 5:30, she wants out. Never pees in the house. Nothing.
That's interesting. Our dogs, and I actually started out training both of them, and then Sabrina the cat went, and well, now they're in bed with us. But one of the things I did was I would get up twice a night to take Oliver and Zoe out. Say I went to bed at 9:30, I'd get up at midnight, and then I'd get up at 2, and then I'm up at 4 to get up. Then I went down the once, and now these guys can sleep for 8 hours. 8 hours.
For whatever reason, she wants to get up and go outside. That's fine. Not a big
Mhm.
deal. So I literally, I got a slider in my bedroom. I stumble over, open the door, go back to bed.
That's fine.
10 minutes later, I hear boom.
Mhm.
So she runs and then slaps her feet on the on the door, and I like, oh, and go let her back in. I stumble back to bed, and she gets under the covers and go back to sleep. And this is all fine and dandy. Bailey was wicked smart. She's wicked smart. We bought her, as we said before, the strap with the jingle bells. We hung it on the slider door. We took her over there, put her in hind legs, kicked the door, opened the door, let her out. Did it twice. We were in there making dinner. We heard jingle, jingle, jingle. Look over. She's standing by the door. Her little tiny puppy self. Open the door. She'll go potty. To this day, if we're in the kitchen, she has to go potty. She'll go nudge the jingle bells, and we let her out. So fast forward to the present time. We got the dog on Sunday. Carrie was off yesterday. So he did start snicking his nose in Bailey's private part, so we got to get him fixed. And we did catch him starting to try to mark here and there, so we had to deal with that. But we went to bed, woke up, piss and shit all over the house. Yeah, this dog's
You're not
housebroken.
reaching for that 5-day ripcord, were you?
No, we realized this dog's not housebroken. We realized that he didn't seem to get much attention. Someone has gone up, some male has gone up his head a few times because the way he acts when you know, and you'll see that with, like, when you take a infant to a doctor's office, they'll kind of pretend, they'll just put their hand by them, and they'll get, the baby flinches, they know the parents are fucking going upside their head. Same thing with dogs. And, we're like, okay, well, that sucks. And then we had to go to the circus, which we'll get into later, came home, pissing shit all over the house. No, I'm sorry.
I'm sure that was expected.
Saturday we got him. Sunday we had to go to the circus, pissing shit in the house. Sunday night it got down to like 50. No, Sunday night went to sleep, woke up, pissing shit over the house. Last night it got down cold, slept with the slider open. Woke up, no pee, no poop anywhere. Got to thinking, this lady said he came from a house where I think the people couldn't afford AC, they left the front door open all the time. The reason he was quote unquote housebroken is because as long as he has the ability to go outside whenever he wants, he'll go outside and shit and piss. But if the door's shut, he doesn't have the skill set that your dogs and Bailey has, and most people's house trained dogs, which is to hold it until someone comes home to let me out. He never learned that because he lived in a house where the door was always open.
And I think we get a little bit of that with our dog door, you know, because we leave the dog door open when we're gone just to prevent anything.
And so the only two doors I have to the exterior of my house are sliding glass doors.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I discussed this, and I talked about like 12, 13 years ago, we had a beagle, and I went to sleep, and I said, I got an idea. I'm going to make an insert for sliding glass doors with a dog door open, and all you got to do is put a male in, and you can just actually put the same locking mechanisms. It'll lock into place. It's still secure, blah, 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 blah. And as I always do whenever I come up with an invention, I go to Google and get proven that it already exists for about $538.
Google is the dream crusher.
For about $538, give or take. But I wasn't dissuaded. I do what I always do when something I can't afford. I get a Facebook Marketplace. And so on Facebook Marketplace, I found a smaller version for smaller dogs and or a cat. For a couple people are selling them for about $25, $30. It's still available? Yes. Can I come out to work? Yes. Where you at? We'll kill you. Okay, I get to drive through Matt Lachey. I haven't seen since before the hurricane. Still fucking decimated.
Is the tiny homes gone?
Oh, on Matt Lachey, all the art stuff.
Yeah, no, where like we stayed, those little tiny house bungalows.
I
'Cause
don't
they
know.
say they're booked, but
I don't know. The hotel on the water, the little cabins right by the drawbridge,
yeah.
gone. Nothing but toothpicks in the water. That whole left side's gone.
Yeah, this is on the left side as you're going towards Pine Island.
All the art places, some of them are still standing. Most of the buildings are fucking gone. There's one that's sank down. There's one that's still in the stilts, but all the fucking stairs are gone. It's fucking destroyed through there.
Oh, I'll see it soon.
So anyhow, long story short, I go get the insert, pop it in tonight, lift up the flap. Dopey Dingledorf staring at it. What's that? Here, trying to push me.
No, don't push. You need a treat on the other side.
Open the door. Bailey comes in, looks at it, open the flap. She walks right the fuck out. Turns around, comes back in. Jasper's, what do I do, Bailey? Like, dude, she's walking in and out, smarter than a motherfucker. So
And the flap's still down when you
I
keep doing
put him out there, and he sees her walking in, he comes in, and so then I walk around, open the other slider, take them both out, shut the door. I come back in, shut the door. Bailey goes through the dog door. He's like, and then he comes around. So long story short, they got it sorted out. Tonight we'll see if I wake up tomorrow to shit. We're hoping not.
Now, this insert, does it got the panel that goes all the way from the bottom of the door to the top of the door?
It has a glass plane from the top to the bottom, and then it has a
so
small
you had to
dog
make sure
door.
it was the right height, or is that all standard, I guess?
Well, most of them are standard, but this one actually had an insert, a spring-loaded insert at the top, a U-channel that actually was wider than the rest of the frame, and
Oh,
so you can
good.
pull it down and then release it, and it spring
Makes
loads.
nice tension and holds in good.
A nice tension. It blocks the air, and then I just put a little weather stripping in there to keep the AC out. And I got to looking at that flap. I'm like, man, I'm gonna lose some AC through that flap.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to thinking, you know what? I got like an 1.5 inch gap underneath my garage door leading into my garage. I could just seal that up and make up for the loss of air through this flap.
Well, that's what I was concerned with because, you know, as you know, it's a nice chilly 117 degrees out here in the summertime. And we had ours actually cut into our exterior wall, but thank God it's actually 2 flaps,
Yeah.
interior, exterior. And it's so far, it's not bad. Now, Katina goes, our electric bill's been higher or whatever. And I'm like, well, electric's gone up, but there may be a little seepage there.
And I'm sure if you get some AC circulation expert, they'll tell you the amount of air that leaks out that dog door is less than the amount of air that leaks out every time you open up the door to let the dog out.
Probably.
Open up that 7 foot tall, 6 foot wide slider to
Instead of
let the dogs out.
Ours is literally 11 by 17.
Yeah. And so anyhow, so
Well, congratulations. Your family of bebops has expanded.
yeah, we're just dealing with both of them are a little jealous. Like I was petting Bailey and Jasper came over, was trying to steal my hand, and she would get jealous. But
So
hold on, real quick. One of the
Oliver's
funny
been-
thing he does is he started this yesterday. Actually, when we had the slider open, he would go to the toy box, grab her toys, walk them outside, and put them out in the grass. And so there's like 15 toys in the yard the other day. And the funny thing is, she used to do that. So he found her toy box and was taking all her toys and putting them out in the yard.
Yeah. So one thing, I may have explained it. So Oliver, I don't know if he's just showing dominance, but every once in a while when they got either a bully stick or especially a collagen, he will go after Zoe, start growling and biting her head, making her squeal.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened yesterday. And usually I put these, I know e-collars are bad, but these are just vibrating ones.
Mm-hmm.
Pink is for Zoe. Quiet. Buzzer.
Well, you can't say her name, then they get upset when she barks.
No, she's been barking. She wants up here. Anywho, yesterday I fed him, and he acts like he's not eaten in years every time you feed him.
Bailey's so fat.
Huh?
Bailey's so fat. Have you ever been in that situation where you don't realize how fat someone or something is until its
myself.
counterpart shows up? When he came, we got a picture out in the yard. Carrie's holding Bailey, and I'm holding him. Bailey looks like a sausage roll. She weighs
You said
25.
she's an oval, right?
She weighs 25 pounds. He weighs 18, and he's only a year
yeah.
younger than her. So she
And
needs
do
to
they
lose
stand
about
the same height?
4 pounds. Yeah, she needs to lose about 4 pounds, and he needs to gain about 4.
Well, what happened yesterday, and this is the first time I've ever done this, and I don't know if it's good or bad, and if it's bad, I'm sorry, but he went after her. After I fed him, I was trying to get the bully stick away from her so she'd go eat. And he went into her, and I didn't have the collar on, so I kind of grabbed
Smacked
his
his
fur
ass.
back. He grabbed his fur, and I purple nurpled him. I twisted like a bite, and he yelped and squealed back. I didn't, because I don't want to hit him,
Yeah.
you know. And to me, that's a submissive hold, you know. That's kind of doing what he was doing to her.
Well, if anybody's ever around large dogs like pit bulls and they get in a fight and you don't want to get bit, you're supposed to grab them by the back legs and do a reverse wheelbarrow and drag them out.
Well, with him, I got to watch because he's got
He's too
that
small.
repaired knee.
But Jasper's good with him. He lets her be the dom. He lets her. But it's so funny. He was sitting on the bed, and I bought him a bone. And he was chewing on a bone. She came over and stole it. And so I gave him the other bone. She dropped the brand new bone, and she just stole whatever stuff. She don't. It's like the kid. She don't want it. She just doesn't want him to have one. So she.
And, you know, it's the same thing. What happens with these two is he wants what she has.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got it now for the most part, except for his little outburst, is he'll sit there. And Katina's been really good at training him, and I got to give her all the credit in the world. She's basically taught him not to take it until she puts it down.
That's good. Bailey has
until he has those moments, where he's like, "Fuck you, I'm in charge."
Bailey has kind of not eaten so much. She's still eating, but she doesn't go wolf her food down, which is a good thing because she needs to lose some weight. Came home and Jasper's walked out in the kitchen. He's over there. Sammy's down upside down, nose to nose, and Carrie's afraid he's gonna get bit. But I'm like, Bailey does it all the time. She hasn't been bit, so I think the bird tolerates him. So we'll see. Hopefully, I don't come home and have a big old chunk taken out of his nose. But he was over there. Sammy was upside down, nose to
Now,
nose.
is Sammy out of the cage or in the cage?
No, she's in her cage, but she's a big bird, so her cage.
Oh,
But she's never bitten Bailey, and Bailey goes over there all the time. So we'll see. So last Friday, Sarah and I came home and said, "Hey, the circus is in town." I've never been to the circus. I said, "Well, either have I." Went online.
now has Carrie been to the circus?
Yeah.
Oh.
Went online, typed in Circus Fort Myers.
I come from one.
Circus Olay Water Circus. And I told her, I said, well, it's not going to be the circus you're thinking. And I said, the animals are long gone. That's why the barman Bailey's shut down.
Now, was that Cirque as in CIRQ?
She just said the circus
Soleil?
is in town. So I Googled Circus Fort Myers and Circus Olay Water Circus. $69. Base. $123. It's like, well, I said, sorry, kid, you're not going to the circus. And I told Carrie that on Saturday, well, your daughter want to go to the circus. Yeah, I know. She said she never been to one. I said, well, I looked online and tickets are $69. She's like, that's got to be the wrong circus.
Yeah, that's
Which it
actually
was.
Cirque du Soleil.
That was the Circus Olay at the Boston Twins, or the Minnesota Twins training facility, where the fuck it is. This was the Garden Brothers Nitrous Circus Humans Gone Wild, set up in the Edison Mall parking lot. $15
Humans
a
Gone
ticket.
Wild.
$15 a ticket.
That sounds like that's in the wheelhouse.
I said, yeah. So Carrie quickly went online and bought 3 tickets, $15 a piece. And I was like, this is interesting. And I went on Facebook and I typed in Garden Brothers Circus, Fort Myers, Florida. And so it says, right, I'm looking right at Garden Brothers Nuclear Circus in Fort Myers event. You click on it. Nuclear, and it says Garden Brothers Nuclear Circus in Fort Myers. You scroll down, and it says the world's largest circus under the world's largest big top. And at the bottom, right on their homepage, first 100 adults, $14.50 a ticket. Garden Brothers New Clear Circus, Humans Gone Wild! Exclamation point.
So they've taken the mantle from Ringling Brothers, who shut down, and they're now the world's largest circus.
Humans Gone Wild! Exclamation point. Well, I found there's a
why am I flashing back to Girls Gone Wild?
Well, reason I keep pointing out Humans Gone Wild, which is right on their banner, exclamation point, and just has a picture of a ringmaster. There's not a monkey, not a tiger, nothing. Just Garden Brothers, Nuclear Circus, Humans Gone Wild. I found another post. The Garden Brothers Nuclear Circus Fort Myers protest. 2 people going. I'm like, did you not see?
Hey guys, that's a strong showing you got there.
Well, not only that, but the punchline, the tagline is "Humans Gone Wild." So, what are you protesting? Clearly, you're not protesting animal abuse because there's no fucking animals out of it.
Just the fact that it's a circus and there's probably some misogyny in there somewhere, and some
And so I talked to you about this circus, and you were saying, yeah, most of them out here are ran by folks from down south.
I call that the deep, deep south.
And so we went to the Edison Mall, and lo and behold, there's this big ass 3, 4, 6 pokey thing, big ass tent.
Yeah, it almost looks like a cartoon, right?
And we get in line.
Mhm.
At the top of each one of the pokey things are American flags. On top of the entrance, the gangway, are American flags. And every single employee are Hispanic.
Well, yeah.
And I said, you know what? It's pretty interesting that a Mexican circus has more American flags than the goddamn NFL.
Hey, how dare you assume that these people
Every
are not
single
Americans?
every employee was Hispanic and spoke broken English. But my point is,
But they could be Americans.
my point being is there's more American flags at a circus ran by Hispanics from Mexico than there are at NFL games, which are supposed to be the fucking America's pastime. That's my point. they had more pride in celebrating where they were putting their show on than when I went to the fucking WWF at the Buccaneer Stadium in Tampa, Florida, where they did not have a single physical American flag on the entire property. And
That's
this,
because people who have been here
and
or
during the
whose families have been here
performance,
for a long time.
during the performance, they carried American flags.
Yeah, because they're proud. They're proud to be here in a country that people are literally dying to get to, because, and that's so what sucks is because American citizens who were born here or whose families have been here generationally have lost sight,
Mm-hmm.
or
Had it too good for
not
too
even
long.
lost sight. They're just ignorant to the fact of what's really going on out there.
And so we go inside the big ass tent, and they got music playing. About after 10 minutes, Carrie's like, okay, they can play a new song. I said, why? That one's free. I said, it's public domain. You know, and they got the big
Well,
ass.
and to be fair, the bass lines on a lot of
Well, we're just waiting. We're sitting, and so they have these big yellow tubes, 6 on each
Mhm.
side, air handlers blowing through. And I told Carrie, I said, it's pretty cool. I said, we've been here in 15 minutes. We've already forgotten that we're sitting in the parking lot of the semi-defunct Edison Mall. They did such a great job. It's nice and cool in there. I mean, it wasn't super hot outside, but
has Edison Mall really been defunct down?
it's.
I mean,
I don't know the
it's like
stats,
Outlet
but
Mall,
I think
right?
if you no, it's a full-fledged mall like a Westland Mall or an Easton Mall, but like most malls in America, suffering from Amazon.
Yeah.
The young kids do want to go to the mall. That stuff's bouncing back because they hear their parents' tales of the '80s, and so. But
Well, watch Stranger Things and some
yeah,
other
but
stuff.
my
too.
point being, I don't know the exact number, but if I had to guess, I'd say 35% of units are empty in the mall. A lot of
You know
empty
what's-
units.
What's absolutely crazy is we hear stories about this across the country, but yet here in Las Vegas, they're literally tearing down like the ships in front of TI and some other things to replace them with malls and retail.
Yeah,
And you look at these places, you go in, it's like, I never see anybody here. And it costs them millions of dollars to make. It's like, how do they do it? They're they're like, all they got to do is, their shit's so expensive, all they got to do is sell one thing and they've got their nut for the month.
there's a chain of mattress stores down here,
Yep. Are they firm mattresses?
and yes, and these
Nationwide, we got them too.
there's no one ever anybody in the fucking stores. And the internet scuttlebutt is their money laundering operations for the fucking cartels. Because there's never anybody in there. You walk by any of these mattress stores that are quite firm, you'll
What's
see 2 salesmen
funny-
and not a single fucking customer in any of them. And they
What's
have like
funny is
there's like one every 4 miles.
Purple Mattress is an online company, right?
Yeah.
They're made in Utah next door, but I bought them at the firm mattress place.
And you were the only person in that whole fucking store.
Yeah, I was.
But what's interesting about Stranger Things, it's funny how history. Oh, the malls are closing down because of Walmart and Amazon and bastard-ass bastards. They're killing little America, the malls. But you go and watch Stranger Things and they remind you, the malls are killing those mom and pop stores, those bastard-ass malls. They're
It's
just-
a cyclical thing that's as old as time.
But anyhow, real
New
quick,
thing replaces the old thing becomes obsolete.
fantastic Garden Brothers Circus. If they come to your town, $15 a ticket, fucking go. It's great. They have the human cannonball. They got the chicks with the freaking ribbons, like doing the shit with no net, 30 feet off the ground. It's very well done. They change their show every year. This is the 20. This one has like a time travel theme. The ringmaster comes in this telephone booth and he shakes it, and all these lights and graphics, and then first comes out dinosaurs and cavemen, and they do some aerial stuff. It's very cool.
So no animals though, right?
Not a single. Well, there's a poodle show. There's about
Oh,
20
wow.
poodles doing tricks, but it was cute and funny.
No cats.
First time I've ever, with the exception of a off-Broadway play, first time I've ever been to an event with a 20-minute intermission. That was cool. So it started at 4, went to about 5:30, had a 20-minute intermission, came back, did the second half of the show, spent more money on food than I did to tickets to get in the joint. General admission, with the exception of VIP. So, I mean, we were like 5th row from the floor because we got there early. It was funny. It was like 3:59. This lady behind me and her husband, there's no places to sit. Bitch, you show up at 3:59 for a 4 o'clock show. You're upset you can't find a place to sit? Perhaps you should have showed up an hour early like we did. But anyhow, great show, good time. Like I said, you didn't know you were in the circus. I mean, the mall parking lot, they had 4 fucking small mini bikes and one of those fucking orbs. You guys can go on my TikTok page, and I have 5 videos. I just briefly recorded like 5 to 10 seconds of each act, so you can actually see them. Really well done. Enjoyed it thoroughly. And I was joking that I need to go to a circus before circuses are completely gone. But this style of
I'm
circus
wondering
ain't
if
going
those two
anywhere.
people were protesting were for the poodles.
I just think they saw circus.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they're going to be elephants and tigers. We're going to
No, that's exactly it. I think they are thinking it's like a decade ago.
So there's a bunch of campers and a bunch of toy haulers, and I got to thinking, there's a lot of fucking people in the show. I bet the people in the camper and the toy haulers are the roadies. I bet the talent fly in for these acts, because I can't imagine these cats tropping from town to town. There was a nice Porsche and a fucking Lambo sitting out back, so somebody in there's making some money on this operation.
Yeah, but now let's think about it. If it's $15 a person, was it filled up?
I would say there was about 1,500 people and 6 porta-johns. That was my only complaint. 6 porta-johns for about 1,500 people. It was
Well,
probably
that's because the rest of them were in the fucking canals.
And we showed up for the 4 o'clock show. They already had 2 shows prior to that, and when we left, there was people lined up for the 7 o'clock show, and they had already played. And this was Sunday, and they already done the weekend before and 4 days. So these cats they're making some money. Not to mention, once again, yeah, $15 a ticket, but we spent $60 on tickets. I probably spent $70 on food.
Imagine being around that thing when a hurricane rolls in.
Well, it's funny because you're leaving and just these huge spikes driven right into the concrete of the parking lot. It's like, yep.
You serious?
I was like, it's
through the blacktop?
I was like, it's the most money us and Moss probably made here in a while. That they don't give a shit that there's 4-inch stakes, 3 feet long, nailed directly into the concrete. Yeah, just kaboosh.
Right through the blacktop, huh?
I'm sure they made enough money off a 1-day rent on that
They'll send a
parking lot
guy out there to
to resurface
patch the
that.
holes and move on.
To resurface that, 2,000 square feet or whatever it was. But no, it was a cool show. It was funny. A lot of cool stuff. Yep, a lot of most of it's acrobatical stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. If they had the wheel that spun around, the guys on the top doing the backflips 40 feet off the ground, no
every
net.
Cirque du Soleil show. And it's funny, I've seen a couple of Cirque shows out here, and I'm like, these are all cool. They're all slightly different, but they're all the same.
Well, there's only so many tricks. And
Yeah,
I told
insurance is
Carrie,
to pay for.
well, I told Carrie halfway through, I said, I wonder if this is kind of like an unofficial farm team. Like these guys were working their way up to a Circus LA style show, because these guys were good and they were putting themselves out there. I mean, one dude was probably 50 feet off the concrete floor, no net, no safety gear, doing backflips on this thing as it's spinning around and all that shit. And
Well, it's interesting. My neighbor who's from Bulgaria, he's probably close to our age. And he obviously, when everything shut down, he was not doing anything. And he had told me he worked for Cirque, and I was assuming that he may have been, a hand or whatever, because he also does cabinets. No, he goes, "Oh, I'm an acrobat." I'm like, "How about how I didn't see him train once when he was, he's always here." And he goes, "No, it's fine." And then the show started. He came back with a fucking blown out shoulder, and I think he's done.
Those with a keen eye, you could tell some of these cats were in multiple different of the acrobats, and some were definitely family. So, but yeah, check out the Garden Brothers circus that they rolled through your town.
And now for the What's in Your Head podcast TikTok lesson of the week.
Shit's getting weird. Part infinity.
Hey, Gil, mind if I hop in?
Yeah, what's up, man? Hop in. Thanks. Hey, did you hear the news? Oh, God. What happened now? Apparently, Aretha Franklin's song, Natural Woman, harms trans women, and they're trying to get it taken off of Spotify and all streaming platforms. Who's saying this? They are. Or them? I'm not sure. It's some activist group in Norway. You ever heard the saying, like, taken to the abyss? Yeah. Why? I feel like we're at the abyss. This is the abyss. I think we're there. This feels about abyss-ish. Huh. This does feel abyss-ish. What's funny about this is it doesn't really make any sense. Why do you say that? Well, Aretha Franklin identifies as a woman, what she believes to be a woman. So why take away her experience of what she believes to be a woman just because you want your experience of what you believe to be a woman? I just think they're looking a little too deep into it. You can interpret the song however you want to interpret the song. If you want to interpret the song to be like, natural woman is you, then you can do that. If she wants to do that, she can do that. You know what I'm saying? Kinda. I don't know. I don't got all the answers. Maybe somebody in the comments can clarify what I'm trying to say here, but to be honest, it also kind of feels manufactured. It does, because this seems kind of weird to get mad about. Anyways, I just realized I made a video talking to myself again. Yeah, you should probably start collabing, because this is getting weird. I mean, I guess that's why I keep saying.
And this has been the What's in Your Head podcast TikTok lesson of the week.
I think
Yeah, we've heard Don run around singing "I'm Natural Woman" before.
and Raining Men. I cover both grounds. I think the most manufactured equivalent to that was about, 5 years ago when Baby It's Cold Outside was being taken down.
I don't even think it was that long ago. I think it was last year.
So let me get this right. You guys put your own interpretation on a song from the 40s, a Christmas song,
Oh yeah.
but you
Like,
happily still play...
Don't you understand? It's misogynistic, and we've got to hold those in the past to the standards we have today.
Then why do they still play Michael Jackson's Pretty Young Thing on the fucking radio?
Because Michael Jackson's a special case,
And he can dance.
and he can dance.
You can dance if you want to.
If Michael Jackson was still alive today, would he identify as a male or something else?
I don't know.
I almost think he was identifying as an alien before he left this planet anyway.
He did it again. Caused trouble.
No, I did not.
Hurt
You said
someone's
as
feelings.
something else.
Yet he didn't want to do
That's
it.
worse
An
than
alien?
dead people.
troublesome
No, you
people
said
are
or
often
something
people in
else.
trouble. They
Yeah,
may
something
be
else is an
mentally ill.
alien. That's what I meant.
Find out how you can
Look
help.
at him.
Write Better Mental Health, Box 3000,
That's
New York 1,
undocumented
New
worker,
York.
thank you.
I wasn't talking. I'm talking about the little
You
gray
just-
men
you just
are
mouth-
coming this
you
way.
just mouth-
Tastes like chicken,
Hi, my
they
name
say.
is Tom McDonald. Welcome to the show. If you are easily offended, then you probably should go.
Welcome to what I like to call Don's Selling Shit Online Photo Tech Tip. So we've been watching a lot of Nailed It on
That's
Netflix.
a funny fucking show.
I
I can only take like 2 in a row though.
No, the second one I tend to doze off, but we average about 3 episodes a night. We've burned through just about all the seasons, and we're back in the early season when Jacques weighed about 30 pounds more than he did on the last couple of seasons. And back before they had the KitchenAid mixers and when they had the off-brand stand-up mixer. Have you seen a couple episodes? Like, most of the episodes, the first round prize winner gets a fucking $500 stand-up mixer. And then there's every once in a while there's an episode where the first round prize winner gets like a lifetime of white chocolate. I would be pissed if I didn't get that fucking $600 stand-up mixer. And so there's been some interest in the possibility of a stand-up mixer in our house.
We talking about the KM ones?
The KitchenMaid or whatever they're called, the high-end ones, the ones that look retro, multicolor.
Yeah, the
Art
ones
Deco.
that has looked the same since
KitchenAid,
the
yeah.
50s.
And so I do what we always do when we can't afford things. Like when I bought my kayak or my aforementioned doggy door, I went to Facebook Marketplace. And I posted this picture on Facebook. You guys can see it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of this super white, scrubby, nasty-looking KitchenAid mixer. And behind it is all this
meth in it.
funk. But there's a can. You can just read the edge of it. Is Sure Shot, Flea, and bed bug remover.
It's the secret ingredients.
It's
man.
like if you're trying to get $200 off of your beat up KitchenAid stand up mixer that has a lot of funk on it, polish the fucking thing up. So if you're gonna sell something online, especially if it's food related, a food prep product, clean the fucking thing up. Even if it's the first time it's ever been cleaned, put a little elbow grease in it, maybe get a little Dawn, some whatever.
I have a feeling if you went to that house and the door open, you'd get hit by the smell of cat piss, but it probably wasn't cat piss, cigarettes, and
Raid.
who knows what else.
But why? I often think about this with
Thomas Sue!
when Carrie and I first started posting on TikTok, especially during the pandemic, and we had Bailey. There's a reason why there's only one video of a Bailey playing the ball in my backyard, and that's because my weed eater broke. And even though I mow my grass, my weeds aren't super high, but they're to me embarrassingly enough that I know that if I saw someone else's video with those weeds, I would make fun of them. So I'm very cautious, and Carrie's very cautious about what sort of video we have with what sort of condition the background of our home is in, because we don't want people to think we're fucking slobs. And I've seen so many
Meanwhile,
videos.
China's got all your passwords.
I've seen so many videos where people shoot in their house, and A, the first question is how the fuck do you live like that? And B, how do you let other people know you live like that? Just I see some gross ass
Hey,
living conditions.
be careful. Those people identify as well-kept
Bailey.
individuals.
Hi Bailey, where's Jasper at? Hi Honey Bear.
You're going to offend those people who identify as keeping a clean home.
One of the
I can't
first
do this
videos I
anymore.
commented on and I pissed the poster off when I first got on TikTok. She had a video where they had a cat box in her living room.
Oh, you were that guy, huh?
Why would you keep a dirty ass cat litter box in your living room? Most people keep it in a utility room, a spare bathroom you never use, because cat boxes aren't exactly the best smelling things in the world. I'm trying to see if Jasper comes in so I can show you too. Bailey's in here. But yeah,
Is your door open?
yeah, Bailey just walked in. She usually lays in here. I think he may be snuggling with Carrie. But yeah, so that's my tip. It reminds me of the old, God, we'll show my age, about 15 years ago, the old picture rolling around from eBay where some limey was selling his tea pitcher. And in the reflection of the tea pitcher, you can see him. It's fisheye, so it's not super clear, but you could tell that he was standing there balls ass naked with his bush. Because he's taking a picture of his tea kettle that he was selling on eBay, and he took the picture naked. You can see his reflection in it. It reminds me of that. So just take a second and just, think before you post. I understand you're excited. You want to get rid of this fucking thing. It's been sitting around your kitchen collecting dust. You want to get rid of it.
Gotta buy some beer.
Pick it up, slide it a little bit to the left, slide to the right.
Yeah, I saw that picture. I'm like, who would even want to buy that?
Yeah, especially even if the bed bug and flea spray, which is amazing to me that you kill bed bugs with the same spray that kills fleas. Who knew? All in one.
That's just marketing. They're just guessing.
But yeah, so just move it out of the way. Oh, still no Jasper. Yeah, so that's my hot tip of the day. If you guys are wanting to sell stuff online, is to do that. Real quick, we want to hear from you guys.
Same too, huh?
We haven't done this in a while. We want to hear from you guys. Send us an email to info@d-410.com. Got any complaints, comments, suggestions? You want to get us canceled? We want to hear from you. Send us an email to mail call. Wrong show, Don. Info@d-410.com. And while you're at it, head on over to d-410.com or the what'sinyourhead.com and check out our photos, links. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and sign up for Patreon. That'll go a long way. It's $1 a month. We send out free stickers and all kinds of different things. So head over there and like us and help support the show. We greatly appreciate it. We're at the beginning of year number 5 doing this. This is technically my 411th podcast. It should be 412, but we had to move what's in the scuttlebutt from last night to tomorrow. And before we get on to the news, I got one more topic. And this is a cautionary tale for those of you. Perhaps you live in an area where your house got hit by a hurricane and your car got hit, and now your bills are more expensive because, well, your insurance is going through the roof here, your insurance is going through the roof there, the cost of eggs is going through the roof, inflation. And you're like, boy, I want to cut back some of my bills. I know. Maybe I'll trade in my car.
Making more than ever, but yet I feel just as poor.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, if I was making this much money 3 years ago, I'd be living high in the hog. But inflation. And then you realize, you know what, I don't want to trade in my car. I only got 3 years left. I like my car. And the new version of my car has a smaller engine. And, I like the Tacomas.
But more power.
I don't know if I could fit 2 12-foot-long kayaks in the bed. But anyhow, so you decide to keep your car. But interestingly enough, you get a colored, 2-sided piece of paper in the mail and said, hey, you're currently paying X for your car, which they had it down to the fucking nickel. We can give you a loan for Y. Save you $88 a month. We're like, that would be great.
How many more years does that stretch that loan out?
That would be great. Take out a new loan on the current price, lower the price down on my monthly payment.
Hold on. Can I?
Yeah, it's going to extend it out, but,
Well, my other thing is I'm skeptical because interest rate's now higher.
So, your credit's not that great. What do you got to lose? So you reach out to this company and see what they have to offer, and lo and behold, you get approved. Here's the numbers. Interest rate is actually 1 point lower. Cool. Not losing anything there. I do have to extend my loan. Wow. They're going to save me $88 a month. Right on.
What's the extra fee they tacked on there?
Right on. 80. Well, what's this? There's a second group. Add gap insurance for X amount. Well, I'm pretty sure I have gap insurance in my current loan, but without gap insurance, I'm saving $88 a month. But with gap insurance, I'm actually paying $20 more than I'm paying now. But maybe when I refinanced my truck, I lost my gap coverage and I wasn't aware. So I called up my current lender, and yes, I do in fact have gap coverage. Now, for those of you who maybe your parents bought your cars, maybe for the longest time you bought from buy here, pay here lots, there's no shame, we did that. You're not quite sure what gap coverage is. Gap coverage, basically what it does is, the name implies, you get in an accident, perhaps it's your fault, perhaps it's not your fault. The insurance company says your car is worth X, your loan is worth Y, and your loan that you owe payments on is more than the value of the car. If you don't have gap coverage, you're responsible for paying the fucking extra money to your lien holder that the insurance didn't cover. If you have gap coverage, it's
or
handled.
repairs or anything else.
And so here's this company, which their loans are backed by GM Financial, so it's not like some fly-by-night operation. Their whole shtick was, we're going to give you, they make you believe, an equal value loan for less money, but it wasn't an equal value loan because A, it didn't have gap coverage, and once you put the gap coverage in, it actually cost $20 more a month than the loan that I already had. So why would you make the fucking change? So just saying.
That's what they call a hook.
When you see that lower rate, like, ooh, I can save $80 a month, but then they say add gap coverage, you may want to call your current lender and find out if you currently have gap. If you don't, then what do you got to fucking lose? The interest rate's the same, now you're saving $80 a month, but at $80 a month is not worth the risk of that gap coverage not being in there. Just like there's another lovely ad rolling around on YouTube. I just saw it when we were doing show prep. Brand new F-150 Raptor. She's showing her. I was paying $140. Florida. They actually say Florida drivers. I was paying $140, but I moved over to Jim Bob's insurance policy, and now I'm only paying $48. Yeah, when a hurricane comes through town, guess who ain't gonna be paying to paint that shit with your $48 a month fucking insurance
Number
plan?
one, if she's only paying $140 on a $100,000 Raptor,
Yeah, that's fucking cheap.
she's probably not talking about the car she's driving. She's probably talking about the beater sitting in the driveway that barely runs.
The Dodge Omni from fucking 1989.
Yeah, with no rear window.
Yeah. Where the fumes come in, and you got to stop somewhere shy of somewhere in Hamilton County and buy a trash bag and some electrical tape so you don't get carbon monoxide poison somewhere before Cincinnati. But that's just a tale
Some
we've heard.
idiots, kids decided to shoot out windows in the neighborhood. Yeah,
Because you don't realize, or these kids don't realize, that when a vehicle travels and the air flows, it curls down and comes back in, and it comes underneath and goes back in. And so your exhaust goes into your cabin, and about an hour into it, you're like, wow, I got a headache. Yeah, you're almost
I
dead.
feel like I'm in an old Volkswagen right now.
You're almost dead. So yeah, Carla. It's Carla.
You knew it was a chance. You just didn't know until you knew.
You didn't know until you knew. Ain't that the words live by?
You knew there was something there, but you pushed it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Words to live by. All you young cats out there. All y'all silent quitting. All y'all saying, hey, I don't need to come to the office. We proved that during the pandemic. I can work from home.
Wait a second. I'm out of money. Government needs to give me some more money.
Why do I need to come to the office so I can do this job at home? Yes, you can.
Because you're not as productive at home. I
Let me
don't
ask
give
you
a
a question,
fuck who you
Steve.
are.
Where do you live? I live in California. I live in New York City. How much you pay a month for rent? $5,000 for a studio apartment. How much you making there? $189,000 a year. You ever consider that the $189,000 a year you make is because you work in a city where it pays $5,000 a month for a studio apartment? Yeah, it's called cost of living.
It's such a beautiful thing. My mortgage is lower than a one-bedroom apartment right now.
It's called cost of living. It's comparative to the geographical location from which you work. Yeah. Well, guess what, Steve?
Well, and that's still not necessarily one for one either.
Well, guess what,
Yes.
Steve? You don't want to come in the office? Yeah. Well, are you the best of your industry? Yeah, I think so. Well, maybe you're not, Steve. Maybe you're the best of the batch.
He thinks it's based on all those participation trophies he got as a kid.
Steve, maybe you're the best of the batch. Best of the batch? What's that? Meaning you were the best of the batch of applicants that applied on the day you applied for your job. And maybe your boss isn't extremely happy with you, but you get enough work done to get by. But now you don't want to come to work. So your boss has been looking around. He found out there's a wife of a farmer in Kentucky who inherited a farm. And so to make the husband happy, she left her job, moved to Kentucky, where cost of living is a lot less. And their mortgage on their farm is only $2,000 a month, but she's getting a little bored. And she decided to get back from work. And guess what? She would be happy to make $60,000 doing your same job. And that would be a damn good living, making that extra income on the farm. And she has a lot more experience and a better degree. So who's
She's
the
the
job
best
gonna
of
go
a
to?
better batch.
She's the best of the better batch. Or maybe there's a nice lady in the Philippines who's even better than in Kentucky. And with their cost of living and exchange rate, she would live a life of king off of 60 grand a year instead of your 172,000. And guess what, Steve? You help the boss realize that he doesn't need to pay all the overhead for that expensive building and the expensive property tax and your high cost of living. And now you're out of a job because a chick in the Philippines just got your job. So keep it up, young cats. Keep convincing your bosses that there's no reason for you to come to work, and they'll find
Actually,
us.
you know what? Keep it up, young cats, because it makes us old people more valuable.
Yeah, because I was able to do a career change at the age of 44 because the young cats, and
Suck balls.
I've heard my boss talking to other fucking business owners, and they're all saying the same thing. No one wants to fucking work, and
Or
the people who do work
Everybody
suck.
we find is grossly unqualified.
Mm-hmm.
Is the other one.
And that's a tip for you old cats. Maybe you think, oh, I'm 42, I'm 38, I can't do a career change. You're a premium. They want you people with work ethic. Maybe you're 42, 46,
48.
48, 52. They don't look at you as old man or old lady. They look at you as this is a cat from one of the last generations with a hard work ethic.
Plus, a lot of headhunters out there. The way companies look at it is they can get 2 years out of their head
Mm-hmm.
instead of 10 years, instead of 20 years.
And
Now,
imagine-
I'm not a jumper. I'm closing in on 10.
Imagine
So-
if you're a person that has a skill set, hard worker, and isn't going to soak up a bunch of time, energy, and effort with fucking human resource fucking meetings because you didn't like the way Steve posted that picture next to the copy machine or in the
Why do you think I
bathroom.
like working for a family-owned company? We don't have an HR department.
Yeah, me neither.
But what's interesting, and this is a psychological problem I have, I still don't think I'm as good as I am.
But that's a good thing.
Not necessarily, because if you don't, sometimes you got to carry yourself with the self-confidence thing. Kind of, I question myself too much, but I've got everything there, you know. So it's something I'm working on currently.
The cover came off. I got to retape it on, but I'm currently reading A Wing and a Prayer by Harry H. Crosby. He was a navigator for the Bloody 100th, part of the 8th Air Force during World War II. Flew over 38 missions, and most people got sent home after flying 25. And early on in the Bloody 100th, they lost a lot of birds and a lot of men because they had commanding officers who bought in their own bullshit.
A little too big for their own britches.
They made a lot of bad choices because they wanted the glory. And later on in this book, as he just became a major, he was talking about the new command squadron captain who could fly and this and that. And they're going on a mission. And usually cats in this position put themselves in the lead plane and the lead group. And he said this guy was a damn good commander, damn good pilot, but he didn't buy into his own bullshit. And he put himself on the lead plane in the middle of the pack because he knew he had two far more superior pilots that could perform the job better.
And
there's
that's
a lot to
good. And that's where I try to strive to be. But unfortunately, I've got a healthy dose of what's called imposter syndrome. Even though I've got the skill set, I still don't think I'm right. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I feel like an imposter. It's crazy.
And you'll hear a lot of successful entrepreneurs and rich people say the key to their success was they hired people that were smarter than them and got the fuck out of the way.
Well, one of the reasons I left my previous company is the people who were smarter than me were gone. I knew I wasn't there yet.
Yep. Who was John
People who had
Galt.
the experience and that. So, yeah.
Gordon, are you ready for the news? The news.
Yes,
the
I am.
news. Joining us from the formerly at Computers podcast news desk in Las Vegas, Nevada, is Gordon.
I'm feeling better today. Washington. Coming out of the Washington AP.
I need a typewriter in here.
And what would be a reversal? And I don't normally tell stories like this. The Biden administration is poised to approve sending M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine. What's your thoughts?
Much like I try to remind young cats here in the States, especially when it comes to the American flag, who want to burn it and piss on it and all these things, the American flag represents us, the people, not the United States government. You can love America and not like our government, and not like the things our government did. Well, in this case, Ukraine's a sticky wicket because their government and their politicians aren't exactly on my side of the aisle the way I think they should treat their people and run things. But I'm also not a big fan of civilians being attacked by another group of assholes.
Yeah.
And so when you got the scale of two shitty governments and two shitty countries, but one of them's having their civilians attacked and killed, you got to go with the underdog and say, let's support the people in the fight, and then fuck the government afterwards. But yeah, so it's
maybe
a
try
wicket.
to work on them to become more sane later. So
because after all, let's not forget the whole Hunter Biden thing with China and Ukraine. Yeah, there are a lot of dirty
and I
deals
think
on.
this stuff, and unfortunately, I do lean right. I as we know, I definitely don't lean way right. And there's some people way right who just sees everything as a conspiracy.
But the audience really
I'm
wants
like
to know.
you. I don't think one sovereign nation, especially a bigger, more powerful one, should have the right to come over and attack. On very flimsy reasoning.
No, more importantly than what side do you lean is to what side do you trust.
Well, right now I trust the smaller one more than the bigger one because, enough is said about that. I think, and if you ever watch Rob Turkula's,
I guess maybe I've confused it. The saying "to what side do you dress" comes from back in the day when people had all their clothes tailored, and that basically means what pant leg does your junk hang down? Do you tuck it to the left leg or the right leg?
It's exactly what it means. Anyway, the international reluctance to send tanks to the battlefront against Russia is actually beginning to erode. I think Germany's getting close to being on board. There's a couple of other countries who's going to send some more things, and it's going to be important because the first year anniversary is upon us here in the next month, and I believe they are building up in Belarus since October. And I think Belarusian is going to come in too. But decision is basically to send a bit more than 30 tanks, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot. But you do 30 here, you do 14 from this country, you do 15 from this country. All that stuff kind of adds up, and we're sharing the wealth.
Talking to a podcast is just asking people for $1. Imagine getting 30 tanks here and there from different
Well, it's
groups.
how government gets taxes, right? It's fractions of a penny, and it still adds up. So U.S. officials say details are still being worked out. One official said the tanks would be bought under the upcoming Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative package, which I'm sure is going to be a Lend-Lease program anyway.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think a lot of people are losing sight of is Lend-Lease. They think we're just giving the money away. No, we will, as long as Ukraine wins, or I don't know how that works if, say, Russia won, if they would owe us that money. But as long as Ukraine wins, we will get the money back. Now, people did not realize this. I believe it was the year 2020 that Britain finally finished paying us for World War II.
Well, we have also learned from watching the AK guy and other YouTube videos that the Lend-Lease can also come to bite you in the ass 80 years later when your guns are showing up in a new conflict.
And we're talking about 80-year-old guns are being used in the Thompsons.
Yes, but not only the 80-year-old guns, but these guns would retail at any gun show for about $3,000 to $20,000, depending on the serial number. So
the amazing thing is how old these things are, and they're still worth a shit.
M1928 M1 Thompson M1A1s, fucking Browning 30
All
cal.
it's about is lead down range at a rapid clip.
It was like that show I complained about that had Opie from Sons of Anarchy, where they were the hill folk in Kentucky, and they were going to go down there and start a riot, and they're all getting their guns together, and Opie comes in and says, I got one of these from the old days, and they said, oh, you dipshit, I bet you don't even have ammo. What, it takes 45 ACP, and you guys are talking about your $350 fucking AR-15s, you're trying to get more, and he's got a fucking Thompson, an M1928 Thompson machine gun that you could take down to any place and sell for 20 grand and get you about, I don't know, 10, 15 AR-15s, but Hollywood don't have good people on
So
their
as the
sets.
official said, the tanks would be bought under the upcoming Ukraine Security Assistance Program packages, which provides longer range funding for weapons and equipment to be purchased from commercial vendors. Basically, instead of out of our stockpile, and this is just, I haven't looked into it, my assumption is instead of out of our stockpiles, it goes straight from the manufacturer.
Now,
The
what
US
if they
announcement-
wanted to buy $33 million worth of high point carbines?
Or just the nines. All the ones with the dollar bills on them. The U.S. announcement is expected to coordinate with the announcement by Germany that will also approve Poland's request to transfer German-made Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. Just imagine, though, being Ukrainian soldiers. I mean, we've got them over here learning the Patriot missiles. They're going to have to learn all these various different weapon systems, you know.
And different languages.
Yeah, you know, and the U.S. announcement is expected, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Officials spoke on condition on anonymity because decisions have not been made public. But one of the things I caught me here is they said this could still take up to a year to transfer the weapons.
Mm-hmm. Well,
know.
tanks aren't exactly light. You can't have Amazon overnight.
No, and well, we deploy pretty quick. Well, we got the best logistics for military in the world, hands down. So I'm sure there could be a...
Can I jump on the news story? Because this is a good segue.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that L.A. has pushed out some new gun laws. We know the fine people over YouTube. If you
hold on. Can we talk about the last mass shootings out of L.A.?
Well, we can get to that. Let me get to this. It's a little more
I just want to say I'm
lighthearted.
so glad it's not white guys doing it.
Well, and the fact that it was a handgun and not an AR-15. I'm sure the news was sad about that.
This last one was a rifle, but yeah.
So YouTube, they won't let you show you inserting a 30-round magazine into a gun, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Demo Ranch has got to figure their shit out quick.
Well, AK guy just put a smiley face over the gun when they inserted the magazine. I'm not familiar with the Grammy Award-winning hip-hop music producer Max Adam Lord.
Okay.
But because of the new, and of course, of all these guns and shit. Studio City, Los Angeles, Grammy Award-winning hip-hop music producer Max Adam Lord was charged Friday with possession of an assault rifle with a silencer. Yes.
Wait, what's an assault rifle?
Well, this is Hollywood, so it could be anything. It could be a fucking shotgun with a fucking 6-round fucking...
Is it all with, long as it's got Picatinny rails and a...
Lord, 30, is set to be arraigned next Wednesday in the Van Nuys courtroom on 8 felony counts of possession of assault weapon and 4 felony counts for possession of a silencer. Not 8 accounts for a possession of 8 rifles, and no, 8 counts for a single legally owned, according to the United States government, AR-15. This ain't a fully automatic fucking rifle that he didn't have a Class 3 firearms rifle.
Well, it is states' rights.
According to Los Angeles County District's attorney, the criminal complaint alleges that Lord was found in possession of a semi-automatic rifle, AR-style altered semi-automatic pistols, and firearms.
Oh, yeah, you can't
silencers.
have the braces anymore.
But you know what's funny? I saw a video of. If you take the brace off of the pistol, the recoil spring is the same length as it is with the
the buffer
brace
tube.
on. So it's the same length as the devices with the buffer tube, but anyhow, I digress. The criminal complaint alleges that Lord was found in possession of semi-automatic rifles, AR-style altered semi-automatic pistols, and firearms silencers during a January
They have the
4th
California blade on them.
search of his Studio City home. Lord was arrested on January 4th by Los Angeles police and released later that day on bond, jail records show. Quote, "It doesn't matter if you're an influential member of the entertainment community or someone who has never been in the spotlight. My office will uphold accountable anyone who illegally possesses these unlawful devices of deadly weapons. District Attorney George Douchebag said in a statement announcing the charges. The
They probably called
proliferation
it a silencer too, and not a suppressor.
The proliferation of firearms have skyrocketed since the beginning of the pandemic. Yeah, and how many of those people were surprised that gun laws actually worked and they couldn't just walk into a store and walk out with a pistol? We must do
Nobody's
everything we
going to
can.
save you but you.
We must do everything we can do to get these guns off the streets and and out of the hands of those who don't lawfully possess them. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, this just in. Say hi, my name is Jasper, and I'm cute. This is Jasper.
It looks like 100% Boston to me.
Well, look at this part. No black body.
That's okay.
Okay, let's see here. Anyone who unlawful devices of deadly weapons, District Attorney, we already said that. The proliferation of firearms, we already said that. Another music producer. Now, keep in mind, nowhere in this story did they say he was in possession of these assault rifles and silencers along with like 20 pounds of cocaine or meth or fucking anything. It's just he had guns. He's a fucking firearm enthusiast. He has money and he has access. And I'm sure he probably bought these before their new laws were put in place. Another music producer, Devontae Kimball, also 30, has been charged in a related case with 2 felony counts, each of false imprisonment, possession of a firearm with prior felonies, conviction of resisting arrest. Now, see, this one I can get behind. Guy already had felonies. Now he's a felon with a firearm, resisting arrest. So go ahead and arrest this guy. But the other guy, they didn't say he resisted arrest. He wasn't a felon. He's just a guy who had some guns. Kimball has pled not guilty and is set to appear Monday at the Airport Branch Courthouse in Los Angeles. Los Angeles police arrested Kimball on January 4th and has remained behind bars since then because he can't afford the bond. So, yep, they're already getting their 2 cents worth. Where are you
That's
going?
nothing new in LA.
Where are you going?
Well, since the world's getting turned upside down continually since 2020, the doomsday clock has moved to 90 seconds to midnight as nuclear threats rises. Atomic scientists have set the doomsday clock closer to midnight than ever before on Tuesday,
Sure, just walk on
saying
the console.
threats of nuclear war, disease, and climate volatility has been exacerbated.
Jasper, what are you doing? Now, Bailey isn't this rude. He does have a bad habit of just walking wherever the hell he wants. He gets on my end tables and everywhere else.
Okay. Anyway, exacerbated by the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, putting
Exacerbated?
humanity at greater risk. Yes, I can't talk right now. The
Exacerbated.
doomsday clock, which was created by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists to illustrate how close humanity has come to the end of the world, moved its time in 2023 to 90 seconds till midnight, which is 10 seconds closer than it has been for the past 3 years. Midnight on this clock marks the theoretical point of annihilation. The clock's hands are moving closer to or further away from midnight based on scientists' readings of existential threats at a particular time. The new time reflects the world in which Russia's invasion of Ukraine has revived fears of nuclear war. Russia's thinly veiled threats to use nuclear weapons, I don't even think they're thinly veiled anymore, remind the world that escalation of the conflict by accident, intention, or miscalculation is a terrible risk. The possibility that conflict could spin out of anyone's control still remains high, according to Rachel Bronson, the Bulletin's president and CEO, as they told the news conference in Washington.
How many
Tuesday.
different versions, how many different dates we had from the doomsday clock? I mean, we've heard all these stories of these evangelicals, scamming people
Well,
out
this
of
is
money.
the doomsday clock. It's not evangelicals don't count.
Is that put out by Timex or Seiko?
No, I just said it was the nuclear. Rephrase that. No, it is the bulletin is of the atomic scientists, created by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. So basically, nuclear physicists create this thing. They are pretty smart people. Although nuclear physicists I talked to when I walked the nuclear test site said solution to pollution is dilution. And he's not wrong.
Well, I actually
You
heard.
dilute it enough, it kind of goes away.
Well, one of the things we haven't heard discussed, unless you listen to Joe Rogan. I won't get into it, but we're listening to a guy who's talking about the problem with nuclear energy is part of the process to,
Is the word nuclear is in it?
well, other than that, but part of the process to taking the byproduct and storing it is you basically have to process, and then you have weapons grade plutonium.
Which I asked one of these gentlemen who was actually one of the main people behind Yucca Mountain. That's the name of the place. And he said the problem with refining and reusing is it actually pushes it closer to weapons grade.
Yeah, it's weapon, and they're not worried about weapons grade plutonium seeking in the soil. They're worried about other countries having access to weapons grade plutonium, thus being able to make
Which
nuclear
is
weapons.
good. Why? I don't know if you saw the news. Nuclear fusion. We use fission. Fission's bad. Fusion has no byproduct and can't run out of control. For the first time ever, created more power than it took to turn it on.
Nice.
So that basically is it'll create helium too, which would be good. Something a little interesting. Results released in a girl's request for DNA evidence of Santa Claus. Coming out of Cumberland, Rhode Island. The Rhode Island Department of Health says that it will not be able or was not able to definitively confirm or refute the presence of Santa in the young girl's home as she requested to have a partially eaten cookie and a couple of gnawed off carrot sticks tested for DNA to see if Santa Claus was real. She's smart. She's watching a lot of CSI or something.
What
The
was that?
department
What
tweeted
was that old story when we were a kid? Yes. What was that? Yes. This is the new version of Yes, Virginia. Santa Claus is real. This is the new.
Yes,
20...
the department tweeted on Monday that we all agree that something magical may be at play. The department said it found no complete matches to anyone in the combined DNA index system, but said there's a partial match to a 1947 case centered around 34th Street, New York City, referring to the miracle on 34th Street. It said that it would need more DNA samples from other known Santa encounters to make a definitive match. The good news is the lab did find the presence of DNA closely matching Reindeer tornadius, known as a reindeer, when testing the carrots, according to the department. That's Rudolph, if I remember.
Bad news
right
is Santa's now on the hook for paying child support for all the elves.
Right. The girl, a Cumberland resident, sent in the cookie and carrot sticks to the town police department to ask if they could be tested for DNA. You know, the fact of the matter that they played along with this says a lot about that department.
Well, let's
Instead
be
of just
honest.
saying, oh, whatever, kid, go away.
Remember back
You
when
know.
we were growing up, take your candy to the hospital to have it x-rayed for razor blades? You know how much x-rays cost back then? They weren't done on computers. It was filmed. Those motherfuckers took your candy back there, walked around in circles for 4.5 minutes, brought it back out and said, you're good to go, kid.
They have one sample picture of the
Yeah,
kid.
they're not going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars x-raying kids and taking up all the x-ray-ticians' time.
I don't know what to feel about this next story. Part of me says yay, but that's the
Huzzah?
old side of me.
When's the last time you've given a good huzzah?
This could be a huzzah, but it's also big government, so I'm kind of torn. But I may be able to buy into it. New York. And yeah, the fact that it's coming out of New York. After a relative quiet of the pandemic, New York City has become roaring back. Just listen, jackhammers, honking cars, trucks, rumbling subway trains, sirens, and shooting. Sorry, not shootings.
Well,
That would
I'm
be
sure they
bad.
have shootings too.
Not like the 70s and 80s.
Well,
Over the years,
Chicago.
there's been enormous effects to quiet the cacophony. One of the latest traffic cameras, and this is I'm finding interesting. Traffic cameras equipped with sound meters capable of identifying souped-up cars and motorcycles emitting an illegal amount of street noise. Well, number one, when I was younger, I probably didn't give a shit. But now that I'm closing in on 50 and I live right on what's turned into a major street, I'm actually getting a little annoyed. I'm like, I don't ever remember this amount of people having loud exhaust systems or muffler deletes.
Well, what drives me
ever.
crazy are the European tuners, and I got a 6-lane thoroughfare about 3 blocks away that sound like they're backfiring. I can.
Oh yeah, we
It's
get it
rain,
too.
pop, 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 pop. Both my dogs started barking last night because they thought there was a fucking shootout. Because this, pop, 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 pop.
And it seems like cops aren't doing anything about it. And we do have a noise ordinance, you know, and I remember back in the day, Mom would get pulled over even with a cherry bomb on her car, you know, because that's all she could afford at the time to replace the muffler. But at least 71 drivers have gotten tickets so far for violating and when I walk the dogs in the morning and you get some asshole, and they all got to throw fucking revs in it at the light. I don't get it. At least 71 drivers have gotten tickets so far for violating the noise rules.
They've adjusted the chip so bad that the thing won't fucking idle without stalling, so they got to rev it to keep it running.
There's a Hyundai out there right now. You can put it in track mode and it's super loud. And actually, I saw a post about this, and the guy was bitching that he got a ticket. And one person, because the cop says you can't have it in track mode. This is not a track. And they're like, well, the cops are going too far with it. Are they? I mean, it's called track mode, not be noisy on the street mode, you know, because it also remaps the transmission and input output, and, you know, and these kids driving it probably can't. But it's a Hyundai, so
it's the internal combustion engine equivalent of ludicrous speed on a Tesla.
Yeah, but it's a Hyundai. So far, at least 71 drivers, as I said, had gotten tickets for violating a noise rule in a year-long pilot program. The city's Department of Environmental Protection now has plans to expand the roadside sound meters. Vehicles with illegally modified mufflers and tailpipes, or none at all, that emit extremely loud noises have been a growing problem in recent years. I would actually agree with this. It says that it's helped to reduce the obnoxious noise. One of the things they're saying is it does affect people's sleep and everything else. And I'm kind of with it. I don't like it, but if people could just behave, you know, it's like, almost like guns. If people could fucking behave themselves, it wouldn't be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we got here? I think I got one more here. Nope. That's all 4 stories.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. And as we said before, please head over to what'sinyourhead.com or d-fortin.com for all the information you need. On the behalf of Gordon and myself and Mike, who probably may be back next week, we will talk to you all soon.